Hello and welcome to this sales competition hosted by FIU's Global Sales Program. Thank you for giving of your time to contribute to the learning of our students. We wouldn't be able to carry out this event without your participation. This video serves as a guide for individuals participating as a buyer in our simulated sales call role plays during the competition. Your role as a buyer is very important because you will be the person who the competitor will interact with throughout the role play. You will be assigned to a meeting room at the Global Sales Lab and will serve as a buyer to 4 to 6 students, depending on the round. Throughout the course of this short video, we'll talk about how you should prepare for the buyer role prior to the date of the competition, and also some tips that you can use during the role play to ensure that each student is given a fair and consistent experience. Let's first look at how you can prepare. The first thing you'll want to do is read the seller role play case scenario and become familiar with the basic information surrounding the case. This is the only information that the student competitor receives, but it is the starting point. The second step is to become familiar with the product or service that the students will be pitching to you. Please note that the competitors are not expected to be experts on the technical features of the product or service. Instead, we want to focus on how the product or service can create value for your business. As a buyer, you will be playing the role of a business owner facing some business challenges which will be described in the second document that you will study, the buyer role case scenario, for the round that you are assigned to. You will receive this role via email. It is important that you do not share this information with anyone. No student should have access to this information as it would be unfair to the rest of the competitors. We want this simulated sales call to be organic and to play out naturally so that the less the seller knows, the more realistic the role play will be. As you prepare, consider the background that led to this meeting or role play. This includes a previous meeting or conversation and the information that was already exchanged with the seller in a potentially previous meeting. So be aware of any previous interactions described in your role play scenarios and incorporate this into your sales call. Make notes on the actions and behaviors that you anticipate using during your role play. Furthermore, take note of the objections that are mentioned in the buyer role profile and be sure to bring up these concerns and give the competitor an opportunity to address them. Finally, it's important to take a look at the judging sheet. The judging sheet serves as a guide for you to understand how each competitor will be evaluated. Now that we've had an opportunity to cover what you need to do in order to prepare for a buyer role, let's talk about some tips that you can use during the actual role play. During your role plays, you'll want to keep a few things in mind. In the rapport building stage, refrain from spending too much time on small talk. The role plays carry a time limit of 10 to 20 minutes depending on the round, and we want to make sure that each competitor has enough time to identify your needs, go through product benefits, handle objections, and then ultimately close. As you continue through the role play, don't volunteer too much information too quickly unless you're asked. It is the competitor's job to probe and ask the right questions to obtain the information needed to make the proper recommendations. Feel free to use creativity in any way to answer your questions within the parameters of the case scenario, as long as you are consistent with all competitors. Be sure to challenge the competitor using the objections that are posed in the scenario. You can make up an objection if you wish, as long as your objection is realistic and that it is used with each of the competitors that you will be interacting with. Whatever you incorporate, you must do it for all competitors. Also, we ask that during the course of the role play, be sure to allow the seller to take control of the meeting unless your buyer profile indicates otherwise. Finally, just be yourself and have fun. We want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and we hope that it has helped you or will help you prepare for your buyer role. If you happen to have any questions at all, email us at sales@fiu.edu. Be sure to check your email a few days before the competition for the buyer case scenario and any additional instructions prior to the competition. Thanks again for your time, and we'll see you at the competition.